Hello and welcome, folks, to an early edition of RSF Radio. I am your host, Joe Monday, and I say early, even though it is the afternoon for myself. It's an early edition for our special guest today. I've got on the line HiFight. How you doing, man?
Hi, I'm doing very good. It's early morning in Japan right now, but yeah, I'm very good. How are you?
I imagine that alarm we heard might have been your wake-up alarm, perhaps?
Yep, I set up a couple of alarms just in case.
I'm gonna leave that in. I like that. That gives a little something extra to the show. All right, so for those of you who are listening who don't know who HiFight is, you fucked up. You should follow him on Twitter at HiFightTH. And you basically, man, I've been wanting to talk to you for a while because I have no idea how it is you do what you do. I'm so impressed by your work. You are a gift to the community. So thank you for agreeing to come on the show. I'm excited to talk to you. But before we get into anything, before we get into the nitty gritty, is there anything that you have going on right now that you want to pitch to people? I like to give guests an opportunity at the start of the show to pitch what they have going on. So if there's anything you want to direct people towards right now, now will be the time. So what's that?
Okay, so most people know me for my Twitter on twitter.com/HiFights. But so I post highlight like every day all the time, and other than that, right now I also have the YouTube channel. You can access that to youtube.com/HiFights, the same as Twitter. And right now I have mostly from my YouTube channel I have the series called just frame analysis and local warriors recap. And I also post some other stuff too whenever I feel like that. So feel free to subscribe to my YouTube.
And you didn't even mention the Patreon, my guy. That's the thing. That's the moneymaker. Let them know.
Yeah, I also have the Patreon page. This one is patreon.com/HiFight, no TS here. Yeah, so basically for me, I don't really have the content or the gift that I can actually give to my patrons. So it's the thing that I can't really ask people much on like yes, please give me a support or something. Basically if you give the support to my patrons, the only thing that I can give you is mostly the thank you. Or maybe if you really want, I can like if you have the match that you want me to do the analysis, I can do it for you too.
You're not the only person who's said something like that. Actually, Born Free is in a similar situation where he's kind of limited in the content that he makes. It's not really much different from what he would give to patrons. But at the same time, I think that, I mean, both you and him kind of work in such a way where the work that you do for free, effectively, is, at least in my opinion, highly valuable. I think the community in general believes that the work that you do is highly valuable. So it's one of those things where I can understand from your end, and I understand the argument of, I have nothing for you guys. I'm sorry about the Patreon, but at the same time, I don't know. I can understand that, of like it just being an outlet for people who want to see you continue to do good work. That's my pitch for you. That one's for free.
Yeah.
But
thank you.
I think that kind of transitions well into, I mean, the topic that at least I'm most excited to talk about is how in the hell do you do what you do? I try to think about like the time that it would take for a single human being to do the things that you do. We didn't even talk about footsies, which is its whole that we'll talk about footsies later. Don't worry,
Okay.
we'll get there. We'll wrap
Okay.
back around to that one. But like, I look at the content that you create, and I think how do you do it?
Okay. Let me say this thing first.
Break it down.
I have normal weekdays job like Monday to Friday. So I work like from 9 to 6, 9:30 to 6 for my work. So all of the video, highlight video, the YouTube video, or even like when I did the food feed, it all from my free time. So it's basically like my hobbies, to be fair. And yeah, some people kind of like have the image of like I watch stream all the time and everything, but usually if I watch a lot of stream, but for my video highlight, it usually just me going through twist clips or some many people don't know that Twitch actually have a pretty good function for people to just like go into the game and find the clips and to see like what is the most view clips of the day and everything. So I use that a lot just to let me get in and to the stream. So sometimes I find good clips out of the twist clips page, but sometimes I also just like, okay, this stream looks interesting, and then I go into the stream and just try to scan through the video and find some highlight from that.
I think that's somewhat revealing. Then I guess in that way, that could be a means of like some smaller communities to get at least recognized by you and the work that you do. Is that how you found some communities for the local highlight, or is that just by other means as well?
Yeah, it's actually one of the way that sometimes I accidentally found from new local tournament that I didn't know before. Like usually I know some major local tournament, and with my Twitter, sometimes I saw some tweet about like, okay, there are some local tournament happening. So I remember that and watch that later when I have time. And but there are actually a lot of tournament that I just found by just randomly going to the twist clip page, and someone have clipped that before and maybe sharing that clip with their friends. So they got some views, and then it got into like the higher up on the twist clip page. And usually when I found that, okay, I have to just like go see like who is winning that local tournament, and are there any like cool players or interesting players or interesting character that I should looking for my highlight clips.
Right.
And yeah.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. So for anyone out there who runs a local community, get the people who watch the stream to clip the video, or do it yourself afterwards. I do that shit all the time.
Yeah, that is why I always try to tell people just to clip a lot. If you are a viewer, clip that and share to the people. If you are a tournament organizer, just tell people to clip your tournament.
Yeah,
it really helps.
It's crazy how good of a tool that is to easily share the exciting parts of a tournament, or at least like, because like fighting games is so hard to stream, right? Like you look at even like the Capcom Pro Tour, right? The the time of action is actually like super small in comparison to the time of talking about all the shit in between. There's like the commercial breaks, and they do the CPT downtime or whatever the hell they have going on. So like the moments of value in a tournament are actually, for fighting games in particular, are kind of few and far between. So having those clips is extremely valuable for the FGC. Again, like you said, that's something that I try to tell tournament organizers as well, is like, get the shit clipped and download it and share it. It's the easiest way to do it. Like, it's one of those things that seems so easy and is like such an obvious thing to do that I feel like also some people like just don't bother to do it, which is crazy to me. But
I guess that some people like just never like clip anything before. It's kind of sad sometimes that when I found some interesting tournament, they have like a lot of good players there, and then when I go to that clips page, and I don't see anyone clip anything, which is like, oh my god, this is like you kind of have to like encourage people better there. And it's funny sometimes that sometimes I go to some stream, and it's just basically like only me who clips all of this. There's like HiFight, they have like 10 of them, but no one else.
Yeah, it's kind of sad to see like all these exciting moments lost to time. It is very prescient and of the moment like that, I suppose, with fighting games. You mentioned something that I think is really interesting. I think that you highlight a lot in your tournament coverage, let's say, is that there are actually a lot of players who play a lot of interesting like shit. The shit that we see people are like complain about on Twitter is there's so many Karens, there's so many Rashids, Akuma's too strong. Where like the tournaments that I see and the tournaments that you see are like, well, actually, there's some strong players like throughout the field, like who are doing good work with unheard of characters. Granted, those characters might be strong, but at the same time, there's representation outside of like the main staples that people like only certain viewers see, be it the CPT or otherwise.
Yes, when we are talking about top tier, and usually it is mostly on the really high level tournament, like CPT ranking or the premier. But when we are looking at the local level of the tournament, there are a lot more variety in the game. In Street Fighter 5, you know that a lot of characters are actually viable and winnable if you are not at the top of the game, who just have all of the match, abuse everything in the game to just beat up your low tier characters. Otherwise, then if you're a good player, you have to win even with a so-called low tier characters. Even especially for example, in the tournament at Osaka, we have last week it just Nash versus Vega in the grand, and these two players who play this character, they have been playing this character like since season 1, and they're actually so good that even other people who use the top tier compete to them like sometimes.
Yeah, dude, I saw that clip you shared and I was blown away. I've never seen an Ash do that shit before.
Yeah, the player, the Nash player, Angel, he playing only. He just like optimize everything, and it's just crazy that when we are seeing that, it's just like we don't even know like Nash can do that with V-Trigger too, and he actually played so that he has all of the optimal combo for like weird counter hit combo and everything, and it's just so cool to see.
Like utilizing V Trigger 2 with Nash. Who'd have thought? Like,
Yeah.
like nobody actually, until you see someone do it, and it's like, in this situation, like the way that he activated it and the way that he used the like the punch follow up to the V activation was like, whoa! I had never seen that before, and like would have absolutely gotten blown up by. Your community though, when you see that, is that like, I mean, that's something special to behold, right?
Sure. And because I go to the local a lot around my area, so I kind of know players around here. Everyone kind of know me, and I play some games with them too. So because I know these players, so for me, if even I have more feeling that uh, about when I see they're doing something cool, there are more feeling of like, okay, I want to share this to the world. They're
Right.
super good, and they are my friends, and yeah, everyone should see them how they play the game. And I think that if you have the community, I think everyone have something like this too. When you see like someone someone you play the game with doing something cool. So yeah, please like share that more to the world. And I think that is like the cool thing that happened to every local, but no one really share it that much.
Yeah, I'm in full agreement. Actually, it's one of those things where it wasn't really until like recently where I thought, you know, in a couple of years, like after the, let's say the CPT moves on, right? Street Fighter 6 comes out, and I don't know however long that may be, but I see like the longevity of Street Fighter 5 to be like, I feel like there could be some really interesting tournaments, like the way that people talk about. I'm gonna get blown up for this comparison, but like like the co-op cup, right? You think about the co-op cup, and there's so much character representation across the board, and it's a first one, so like really anything can happen, and it's just people enjoying the game and playing it at the highest level they can possibly play. When you see things like that in Street Fighter V, there's a part of me that's like, you know what? When a character can really be played at the top of their game, when you see a Nash who's like kind of mid to low-ish tier do something fucking incredible, you're like, oh, dang, actually, there's some impressive stuff here. Especially considering like the lack of defensive options that a lot of characters have, where you have to hold some shit and just fucking deal with it and learn how to block and do it consistently. Is like, it got me thinking that like maybe there's legs to this game that I didn't initially think that there would be, and I think that the players who will stick with Street Fighter V, it'll be interesting to see what they do after the quote unquote natural life of Street Fighter V, the kinds of tournaments that will be thrown after like, because I don't know, you think about like Street Fighter 4, like, are there big tournaments that happen with Street Fighter 4 right now?
You're talking about the Street Fighter 4 is a weird thing that even though many people love that game, love to play that game, and it is considered by many people to be superior fighting game than Street Fighter 5. But for some reasons, the way that it's kind of disappear, no one really trying to revive that is super weird to me too. Like you see more third strike all the time everywhere, more than Street Fighter 4 for whatever reasons.
Like you see people being like, "Oh man, I miss Street Fighter 4," and it's like, where the fuck did it go? What happened to it? Did it get deleted? What did all the files of Street Fighter 4 is it gone? Did it get clapped out of existence?
I know that a couple of people try to try to bring it back, but
Right.
it's never really hit the point where like everyone in many places like, okay, let's just go back and everyone play this again.
Yeah.
What we see a lot is if in the tournament when they have Street Fighter for the character that usually win is to like Anna for the Fit.
Yeah.
And many people just like make a joke of that if like that if the people who actually love Street Fighter 4 because they play those characters, which is kind of funny.
I actually like Elena. As a Zangief main, I actually I like the Elena matchup, as odd as that sounds. I don't know. That just gets me nostalgic. But we're not here to talk about nostalgia. We're here to talk about what's been going on with Street Fighter and like what you do. Because, man, like it's one of those things where how can one man share so much highlighted material? Like, it's all like it's like the things that you show off and highlight are so like unseen in the community. It's like you're the only bastion of hope of like it's as if you're the only person who is watching these things, and it's like
Yeah.
which is like bananas to me because there's so like can I get angry? Do I have permission to get angry?
Yeah, sure.
So
Go for it.
the series where you go and highlight all local tournaments, that shit gets like 0 views.
Yeah.
That to me is like fucking bananas. I'm like, yo, like that is like like aside from all the Twitter stuff that you do, aside from all like the other videos that you do or the tutorials that you do, which are also really good, but aside from all that, like that to me is like the most work that you do, and I'm like blown away. It's like not. I don't know if you feel the same way, but it gets me heated. I'm like, dang, people should upvote this shit. Or like give it some thumbs up because like local recaps, man. Like no one else is doing it, but like you can see from all that shit. That's the thing when someone shows up to a major tournament and blows up a pro, it's like, well, fucking obviously he was right here the whole time. Did you guys not see this shit? Like this isn't a surprise. He's super good and super talented. He just doesn't travel much, and there just happened to be a premiere around wherever this person lives. All right. Let me cool off.
Yeah, for the local warrior recap, the series that I did on my YouTube, just gathering all of the local tournament that happened in like last week or the past 2 weeks, and just summarize all of them into just mash it into one video. And if on my YouTube, I did this. There is like around 23 episode right now. I started doing this since January this year. So the thing is, I saw Smash community. If the guy named of the La Vista on the Twitter, he doing this kind of thing on for Smash community.
Right.
Just to summarize the US Smash scene in the US, and he have like this cool graphic of the map of the US and have all the character winning on the screen. And after I saw that, okay, I want this for the Street Fighter 5 too. I know that there are so many local around the world, and I thought that it would be cool if we have something like that too. And after thinking that, and then okay, but there's like maybe in this world there are maybe like just only couple of people who actually watch all of this local tournament in the world. So okay, if someone going to do it, it's gotta be me. So, so I just like start doing this, and I have been doing this for more than half a year. And compared to other video that I uploaded to YouTube channel, usually the local warrior recap definitely get that much view. And to be honest, it just a proof that not that many people really interested in watching this, or it's just the way that I represent the recap, if not interesting enough yet. So if
That's hard to say. I don't think that's true, because I think that the way that it's shown up, I mean, it's because you don't really have much control over that. It's kind of how the people present their own tournament and their own streams that kind of dictate how the thing is shown off, because you can't dictate the commentary, because there's some bad commentary out there. I get it. I've watched recaps of my own stream before. The commentary's bad, but you know, there's like when local flavor comes into it, they're talking about some bullshit that no one has any like reference to, and it's like you're out of your element, and it's like, I don't understand this. But anyway, I digress. It's one of those things where the value of that, I think, is... Here's where I see the value, where I don't think is represented in terms of the mass market of it, is that I see someone who actually... like actual players. Like, it's... Alright, so track with me on this. When you think about the people who are... like intrinsically involved within the fighting game, like the global fighting game community, let's say, the people who like run commentary, the people who are in charge of like deciding who, this is actually, I was going to say something and I'll say it and then I'll immediately redact it. I was going to say the people who are in charge of building brackets for large tournaments could, but then I immediately redact that, because the people who are in charge of running large brackets for huge tournaments, like more often than not, like put a ton of people who like play each other all the time for whatever reason. I don't know if it's just fucking chance or by what, but like it's crazy to me. Like Evo itself, I'm like, man, there's a lot of people who are in the same pools who play each other all the time on our own weekly, and it's like, fuck, man, well, whatever, I guess. But whatever.
That's the thing, right? If it's not your own local, I don't think that many people are watching other local that if not VPT, or that if not like Wednesday Night Fight or Spooky.
It's kind of crazy how like the viewer drop off from things that are specifically not CPT is one of those things where early on I actually didn't think that this was going to be an issue, at least in like the Street Fighter 4 days, let's say. I didn't think this was an issue, but now when I'm seeing that really things that are like, look at fucking Summer Jam, right? They got their CPT status revoked because of stuff that they did the year prior. But like how many people showed up to that Street Fighter 5 tournament? How many people watched it? It's kind of a bummer, because it is a big tournament. It is like there are potentially a ton of strong players that could potentially go to that tournament, but because it's CPT for whatever, like it's because it's not CPT, like the drop off is actually like financially an issue.
Yeah, but you have to think about like, okay, people watching the tournament first, they might watch because of if CPT, and then if it's not CPT, then people go to the stream. They want to watch maybe the players, or maybe they watch the stream because that is the stream that they usually watch. So if those things doesn't exist for them, then they're usually not watching that. And the summer time is a kind of the situation where, because it's not CPT, all of the players, CPT players, are going somewhere else too.
Yeah.
Because everyone has to get those points. And because of that, there's not really like a known player in the summer jam, which result in even like left view for them.
Yeah, it is kind of strange how just like general viewing habits have changed kind of dramatically based on that. But I don't know, kind of a bummer. But at the same time, I'm like, no, there's like a CPT event literally every week, literally all over the world,
Yeah.
which like,
Yeah.
so
Too many.
it actually is kind of bananas at that point where it's like there's actually a whole lot of like quote unquote Capcom official tournaments happening that potentially have the highest competition that, or at least like presumably have the highest level competition of that week in that particular region. So I don't know. It gets really
like
messy.
No one can really track a record of CPT anymore. It's just like who won the tournament like last week, or like who won the premier. Who won the last premier event again, or something like who got like second or top
Right.
eight. I don't think that I don't think that there are. I think there are even like less than 10 people who can like have all the info in
Yeah.
their head like about like who is winning, who fought who. Even I do the this highlight all the time. I don't remember anything. Like what really happened like at like combo breaker or I already forgot about that.
The storylines get jumbled, man. Like the only people who can do that are like commentators who are consistently from week to week at the premieres. Like those are the only people that I can think of that might have that knowledge. Like in
I think
their
they have to
brain
do the
somewhere.
homework for that too. Like
Right.
when they know like the players who are in top eight, okay, then they have to go back to first. Like what if their performance from the last tournament, and that is why the game 2K.
Yeah, I was just gonna bring him up too. I was like commentators and Glenn. Like those are the only the only people who would possibly know.
That is why he is so important for the commentators, and I really like what he has been doing right now.
Yeah, that's just, by the way, again, he's been on the show before, and I will continually point people in his direction, but that's thegame2k on twitter.com. I think you could also just go to thegame2k.com. I think that's the website. I think that's the URL.
Yeah.
Where he just has like all the stats that you could really want to look at for CPT. He also goes somewhat beyond that as well. He's a stat tracker, so God bless him.
It's just crazy, or like the stat that he took. It's just like if the film, like I don't even know how he do that. Like when people say to me that they don't even know how I did this. But yeah,
no, yeah, I can. Yeah, honestly, it's like I know that you watch generally a whole lot of Street Fighter, but that guy is like sitting in front of all of the Street Fighter with like a notebook in front of him, being like, the numbers don't make sense. The numbers here, round 1, 15 seconds afterwards, comeback, V trigger activation. I don't know how he does it. I don't know what his methods are. Maybe I'll have him back on the show to talk about it. But like, dang. Yeah, I think the last time that I had him on the show was when he released his ebook for 2018. Did you read that ebook?
No, I haven't read that yet.
It's pretty good actually. I think like gave a pretty good look ahead towards 2019. Like him saying that like, yo, Cammy actually needs buffs, and then like when the patch rolled around and Cammy didn't receive buffs, it's like, well,
she disappeared.
Well, now where is she? It just so happened that a lot of people were skilled enough with her to do work, but at the same time, like the number of times she had to guess right. Anyway, enough about all that. We can move on. Okay. Actually, something I wanted to talk about, and I know this isn't on the list, but like the locals where you're at, like generally the location that you are. Do you want to disclose like where you're actually from and kind of what you're up to every week?
Yeah, I think a lot of people know this already. I live in Osaka, Japan. So most local that I actually go are in Osaka, obviously, and the one that there are two locals that I go regularly. The first one is the Fight Club Osaka, the organizer who sponsor Korichi and Tokura, and fan visit, and this one it happen every Wednesday night in Japan, and the thing is, it is super cool that it is actually a free. You don't have to pay anything to get into this local and play the Street Fighter fight.
Are there payouts?
No,
for the winner?
no,
Okay.
no payout, but you don't have to pay anything. And the thing is, they actually have the tournament every day for different game, but it's just Wednesday if the Street Fighter fight day.
Right.
And yeah, I go there sometimes just because it's at Wednesday night, and sometimes my work just go late, and so I didn't go there sometimes. But I usually watch this every week, and if you follow me, you will see a lot of highlight from here, just because as I said before, that I know these people, and I having fun watching that. But the bad thing about the Cyclops of Agar is they're having the same time slot with the Topanga TV, which is the show from Mako Tokido and Gachikun.
Right.
It is basically the biggest the fighting game weekly show in Japan. Everyone was in fighting game watched that show. And because of that, no one really was the Fight Club of Osaka that much, even though we have a good player and some good personality too. So that's why for me, I just I want to help promote them all the time. And the other tournament that I go to regularly, the other one is called KFC, and it's not Kentucky Fried Chicken, but it's actually it is actually the Kansai fighting game clubs or something. But yeah, they call it KFC, and also the person who organized this KFC is Kiyomatsu or Kiyo, who actually his profile just look like the Kentucky Fried Chicken, so that's why he just call his tournament KFC too. But
fair enough.
Yeah,
hit him up with the KFC.
And Kiyo, the KFC tournament is usually happen once a month, and this one is actually the one that I go to all the time. But if not stream, if not stream, it's just they just gather and just play. Sometimes they stream, but most of the time not. But yeah. And
do you say that was also in Osaka?
Yep, they are from in Osaka.
Okay, cool.
And the person who ran this KFC tournament, Kiyo-san, is actually an OG Street Fighter. He actually one of the best guy player in Street Fighter Alpha 3. And he actually went to Europe in and I couldn't remember 2002 or something, and he has the video of him fighting Daiko in Alpha 3. And he's actually some people know him. When I post a clip of him playing a Seku, and sometimes people actually ask me if that Kiyomatsu guy, and that's the guy. And he is the person who loved Guy so much. He played Guy in Alpha 3, and he played Guy in Street Fighter 4. And then in Street Fighter 5, when Seku came out, he just go straight to the Seku. And
that's as close. I think that's as close as we'll get to Guy in Street Fighter 5.
Yeah. But yeah, it's very cool. And even right now, there's some local that going up, not in Osaka, but in Kyoto. There's more local that is happening every week too. So yeah, it's pretty good here to have all of this.
Yeah. I visited Kyoto earlier this year. That's a cool city. It's very like bike friendly as opposed to others. Is Osaka a similar situation, like bike heavy, or is it too city?
Yeah, I will say so. Even in Osaka, I just go everywhere with just bicycle a lot, and they have the lane for the bicycle and everything. So yeah, it's pretty good here.
Ah, cool. That's like one thing I noticed that like compared to Tokyo, which is like
Yeah.
it's bike friendly, but also things are like close enough that you can walk to it. And Kyoto was like things are close enough
Yeah.
that you kind of want to bike to them, like kind of working in that range.
Yeah, there aren't that many subway or the train that you can go everywhere in Kyoto. So sometimes you have to take a bus. Sometimes you have to take taxi to go somewhere.
Yeah, those options suck. Taking the bus sucks.
Yeah,
Taxis suck.
taxi in Japan. If you don't really have a very urgent reason to use a taxi in Japan, don't do that.
Yeah, how rich do you think I am, man?
Yeah.
I'm not made of money. Can't take a taxi. What are you talking about? I eat most of my meals at the 7-Eleven. What the fuck are you talking about? Which is not that actually. So
it's actually pretty good. 7-Eleven.
For the American listeners, that's not a bad thing. How much time have you spent in the States? You've been to Evo, right?
No, I never been to.
Really?
Evo.
Oh, you weren't here.
I've been to Evo Japan, but I haven't. I never been to the US Evo.
Oh, I thought you came over here this year. Bummer. Ever been to the States at all?
I have been to state for travel, but never for any tournament. So I think the only tournament that I go overseas for the tournament is the Southeast Asia major last year.
Right. Yeah.
That is the one that I actually go
Shout
there
out to Gamerby, by the way.
to work with them, not just playing in the tournament.
Oh, okay. So actually, like helping, like you like running brackets over there. What are you doing?
Doing the I'm helping them doing the social media coverage.
Oh shit! Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah,
as someone like that's kind of like your unofficial FGC job to be like, oh, by the way, you want me to like to schedule some stuff and tweet the shit out? Fine, fair enough.
Yeah,
you know what? Yeah, that makes sense.
And other than that, I'm mostly just like going to like big tournament in Japan, like Evo Japan. Right. I went to Evo Japan last year in Tokyo and this year in Fukuoka.
All right. Well, when you do eventually come over to the States, don't be fooled. 7-Eleven, not the same quality of food, my guy. It's a different, it's a different situation over here. It's unfortunately not the same. One of the things I dearly miss. But anyway. All right, other topics we need to talk about. So other than all of the highlights that you share, other than all the local community stuff that you're sharing, you're putting out there, other than the just frame analysis, which are some really interesting breakdowns of specific matches. You did the really good one of Daigo versus Problem X, which is like one of the better Street Fighter. It's like it ranks in my top 10 in Street Fighter 5 matches of all time. That particular match was incredible. There was a very good analysis of that particular match. But other than all that highlight stuff, you also made a game. You made a video game.
Yeah.
Let's break down the origin of this. What was your drive to do something like this?
So it actually start with a very simple reason. We are talking about Futris. It is one of the most simple but still competitive fighting game that you can find in the internet. And so I developed, or if developed by me myself, and yeah, if really one of my the most proud work that I have really done in my life.
Yeah.
But for the start, it if actually start just because I want to practice making game with Unity. If you don't know,
I see.
Unity is the game engine that free. Everyone can use that for free. And I just like I know I have been working with Unity. I have using Unity before. I know some basic stuff, but I never really finished a game with Unity. And I want to have like more experience with that. And the best way to have the experience with the the doing the game development is just like to finish one game, just like doing it from start to finish.
Yeah.
And not just like drop it or in the middle. So okay, I want to do this, and therefore I just have to make a simple game that I can finish by myself.
Yeah,
And
I'm in full agreement there. It's like the old saying of like, if you want to do it, you have to do it. Like,
yeah,
you just have to do it.
And it was like, okay, I wanted to do this, and then okay, why not making a fighting game? I love fighting games, and maybe I can make a really simple fighting games where I don't really and also like I have like zero skill in art. If you can tell, and I was like, okay, I have to make a very super simple game.
I think the art is passable for what it, because that's a whole other conversation. All right, so this is kind of an aside conversation.
Okay.
Of well, Let me ask you one question before I talk about that. In your regular job, do you do any coding at all? Is that part of your regular day job?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a programmer, so yeah.
Okay. So like there's a little bit of understanding there of what it takes to code a game. A little bit. Or at least the language, let's say. But in terms of graphics, so here's something that I for whatever reason, over the last couple days, I've been thinking about this. But and this is a question to you and a question to everybody who's listening. This is a rhetorical question. You don't have to have an answer to it. Maybe you can answer it if you want to. But let's say if your favorite fighting game of all time, if it was just gray boxes, would you still enjoy playing it?
No.
I think no. I think the true answer is no. Like, oddly enough, I know, right? It's one of those things.
You don't have to look at like much further. Or MVCI is just the result of that.
Maybe MVCI would be better if it was just gray boxes, but that might be a whole other conversation, honestly.
Yeah, but when the graphic isn't there, it just makes you feel less exciting to just play the fighting game.
Right. This is the Magneto gray box. It functions like Magneto. Sorry. All right. That was a joke too far. But no, it's one of those things where I think with fighting games in particular, if the shit that you're putting someone in doesn't look cool as well, there's a part of that this doesn't feel right to me. I don't feel like I could get by it. Which, to your credit, I think that as basic as they are, the animations and the way that Footsies looks, it's all like extremely simple pixel outline graphics, but it conveys a message and shows you the information that you need to see. It gets across the important stuff, and I think it's enough. it's effective, I think.
Yeah, it's actually kind of surprised me to how well it turned out to be. Like
Really?
the symbol. Yeah. As I said, that it just started with me only want to just okay, let's just practicing something. So it's not like I have like a whole plan of like this will be like one of like the most
Right.
crazy simple fighting game that everyone will play or anything. But the thing is like, okay, I have no experience or even like have the skill for drawing or anything. So okay, let's make the graphics super simple and let's just try like making some. If I have to do the so there's like two choice for me if to just create the graphic myself or just use the existing asset from the internet. And
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
I actually try to find something because at first I don't really think about like having this to be kind of like failing or anything. And they've like, okay, maybe I can use some access, but when I try to find some access that on the internet, and I don't really like find anything that like suit with what I want to do. So okay, that's why okay, I had to do this myself, and instead of just doing something super drawing something complex. I think like let's just go with two color. Let's just try to do everything with just white and black, and no in between gradients or anything. And yeah, and after I try, and to be fair, what I spend even with this simple black and white characters, I actually spend a lot of time just trying to get all of this frame and animation right.
No,
It's just like
that shit is hard, even with as like quote unquote simplified as you made it. It's not. That shit's not easy. There's a walking animation. There's frames of every button that you press. Like there's win animations. Like all that stuff takes. It's one of those things. Appreciate the work of artists because
yeah, for sure.
It takes time and is difficult to do. Pay your artists, folks. I mean, that was a potential other option, I guess, but you probably weren't thinking about wanting to pay an artist to do work on it. But
yeah,
because you're also not looking to make money on this thing. It was just something that you wanted to do to do in your own time. So it's a valiant effort, and I think that the message that the game has sent to like the world in general is, I think it's an effective one. It's a fun game. It literally teaches footsies through play itself. No tutorial, so it sucks ass, and of course there's no no alternate costumes, which is a big bummer. Hate that. No DLC. Yeah. Fuck you. Where's my new character? Where's my Zangief stand-in? I need a grappler. Please.
In the game where you cannot jump.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, in a game where you can't jump. Please give me Zangief. Please give me that command grab. Make it go as far as Light Punch SPD. No. Okay. No, it's one of those. And also, if you're listening to this show, you've never tried out Footsies, download it on like literally any device, right? It works on basically
PC,
everything.
Android, iOS. I also have the Linux version.
Oh, really?
Which I never tried it myself, but I actually send that to someone. I just actually just export that and send that to someone. It's work. So yeah, it's not on my website, but if you are using Linux and want to play for Thief, just ask me. I will send you.
Unlike Street Fighter V, yours has a Linux version. Jesus Christ. That's a kind of bananas. That's awesome, dude. I didn't know that. So it's literally, because even like Carolyn was like, I have an Android phone. I can't download Footsies. I'm like, guess what, bitch? That shit's on Android. It's on literally everything. If you have a Windows phone, I actually don't know if it's on Windows Phone. I can't.
Anyone still using Windows Phone?
I don't know if there are Windows phones still available. I don't know if they still make them. But that's, hey, if that's you, listener, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's not for Windows Phone.
Sorry for your life and how you ended up in this position. It's unfortunate, I'm sure. But anyway. So Footsies is great, and if you don't have it on whatever mobile device, and like all tablets, basically, you can get it on that, which is, in my opinion, tablet version is like the ideal version to play Footsies.
Yeah, mobile is just like too small, but
yeah,
I think it just do its job. I actually like that you can play this with only one phone and play each other. And if like you're playing like old school arcade style with each other, even though the control is kind of sucks, but yeah, it's kind of unique in its own way too. It's just holding the phone and fighting each other.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things where I think it kind of, I don't know, I think it sends a message that I don't even necessarily know if you intended it to send, but it teaches very basic fighting game fundamentals in a way that is effective and good and useful, and I think everyone should play it. And I think people should support what you do through Patreon and otherwise. And maybe go rate and review the shit that you do. Maybe go upvote all your or thumbs up all your videos and like and subscribe and smash that like button, ring that bell. But maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just my opinion. But other than that, is there anything that you didn't get to really talk about in your time here that you really that was on your mind, something that you want to say, get off your chest?
I'm trying to think. No, not really. I think I got to talk to for the topics that I wanted to. So yeah.
Awesome. And again, I commend you for your service to the fighting game community. We must protect HiFight. Your health is the utmost paramount to the community. But before I let you go, I gotta ask you two questions. You know what's coming. It's a two-parter, and I think it tells a lot about a person in the way that they answer it. But of all of fighting games, what is your favorite normal attack in any fighting game?
Favorite normal attack in any fighting game? It is actually pretty hard for me to just think of like favorite normal attack.
Number one, you have to actually, you can list a couple. There have been people who have listed multiple, and I'm okay with that. I break the rules here. That's okay.
Yeah. Normal attack is kind of hard. It just, but if I have to throw off one recently, there's a game called Samurai Showdown, which is a pretty normal attack heavy game. And one of the attack that when I actually learn about this attack, and I cannot stop spamming this, which is Yoshitora jump C.
Oh, it got
jump
nerfed.
Heavy
it got nerfed, my guy.
Nerfed. And yeah, to be fair, it's my favorite before the patch.
That's fair.
But if you don't know about this attack, it's the charm attack that has like the gigantic hitbox, and even like when you are at the highest point of the charm attack is still like hitting the opponent on the ground, and it is 4 hit, and because it is have a very weird hitbox before the pass, it can actually cross you up between the hits. And if you don't know, in Samurai Showdown, they don't have the absolute guard, which is when you start blocking the first hit, you don't automatically blocking like the other hit.
Right. If it's a true block string, you don't automatically block whatever comes next.
Yeah, you have to hold back all the time, hold back the right way. But
Right.
because of its wonky hitbox, sometimes the first hit in the front and the second hit in the back. So if you don't hold back and then hold forward at the right frame at the right time, you will get hit by that. And then yeah, and because of that, I just spamming this, and it just generally a really hard to enter normal
Yeah.
anyway.
Because like
So
his jump arc is so low, and the hitbox
yeah,
is so huge, and you're already pressing it like way before
yeah,
really like any other character presses their jump and attack. You're hitting it like the apex of your jump, whereas everyone else is like, hold on, I have to hit it so the hitbox lands the second before I land so I can get that combo. You're still is like, whatever, dude. Like, here's my
yeah.
fucking swords, eat them all. uh,
And and because of that, it forced opponent to they have to air to add it.
yeah.
It's actually like okay to air to air, but yeah, it really forced your opponent to do something. And
Mhm.
all I'm doing is just like spamming this, and let's see what you do to counter this, and then the game starts from there. So
Yeah.
it's pretty fun.
Yeah, it was one of those like I know that it's funny that someone who made a video game that has no jumps and is all about neutral would say, my favorite normal attack is a jump button that says, fuck all to neutral. Don't give a shit about that. Let me just jump in on this, maybe cross up halfway through and then still land back on the same side, because who
Yeah,
cares?
and people actually like are kind of like thought of me as someone who just like super analytical because of the just frame analysis,
Yeah.
or super footsies based neutral player because I made footsies. But I'm all the opposite. I I play Blanca because I have no footsies, I have no neutral. Therefore, I just like spamming all of the Blanca ball, rainbow ball all the time. And it's just like yeah, and that's why I love this kind of shit that you just spamming and don't have to think about that. I'm those kind of like what do you call unga bunga players. I'm all the opposite of the just frame analysis that I portray to be.
Well, let me ask you part two to the question then, because this is a good lead in. Is what is your favorite combo in any fighting game?
Actually, my favorite combo. People know me for Street Fighter Five, but when you're asking me like about my favorite game of all, my favorite fighting game of all time, if it always be Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3,
Mm.
and yeah, my favorite combo is the Doctor Strange Impact Bomb loop. If
Huh.
you ever seen one, if you have seen the Nemo uh, playing the game,
Right.
you might have seen this before. If the combo that you have to set up with usually like with Nova and Doctor Strange, and when the combo does right, or you hear this like impact into just like loop to each other like about like 20 or 30 times until the opponent die. And I love this combo just for watching, but I also love just trying to just like doing this combo in practice more too, because it's actually pretty hard, pretty difficult to do that, and it just feels very satisfying to just like landing that combo.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to like set up too. It's not like anything else where you can just like land it whenever, right?
Yep, and Doctor Strange cannot do that alone. It's just like you have to set that up with usually with other characters, and then just raw tag into the Doctor Strange to start the combo.
Right.
So yeah,
Huh. Interesting. I didn't know that about you. I didn't know that you were a UMVC3 fan. I didn't know you were the Wens part of the Wens Marvel squad.
yep. I'm those three monster in I would say like the old Wednesday night fight or like Team Spooky stream,
I
and when
see.
Street Fighter 4 on the screen, I'm those three monsters that who are like wins Marvel. I want to watch Marvel 3. This Street Fighter 4 is so boring and everything.
Oh man, from back in the day, people if people remember that's when you planted the seed. Apparently, let me ask you this question then. I know we kind of joked about it earlier, but MVCI, what's your thoughts and feelings on that game?
It's actually check a list of what fighting games should have in. If you watch the Fair Jam video about the netcode and UI and everything, it actually check a lot of box of what fighting games should have, except the graphics and story.
Yeah, except the thing where, like, when you look at it with your eyes, it's kind of, I don't know. That is one of those things where I think the graphics got better before launch, but and in motion it looks fine, but it doesn't picture well. It's one of those games.
The thing is, like, if the game were like, people joke about if it's an open world fighting game, but if actually the open world fighting game, it just like have all the creativity that people don't find in Street Fighter 5, have all the crazy stuff, and
it really does.
It has good rollback netcode. Actually, good rollback netcode. People joke about like why does like Japanese fighting game doesn't doing the good rollback netcode. MVP, I have that, but no one cares about that. So.
Yeah. Why can't Capcom do rollback netcode good?
They did,
well, there was a game, but you know what? Never mind. Don't worry about it.
But if just like a sad situation for everyone. It's just like you can kind of see like there are some problem with the developments or everything. You people talk about this already, but you can see like the developer, the one who did the gameplay, or at least the one who did the netcode and everything, they did a good job on that. But other parts just don't really come together.
Yeah,
so
it is.
It's kind of like a sad situation for everyone.
It
put DC into like Marvel films into like a little bit of like, we have to like stick with this or like try from other games. Which is in the current generation, if you don't have a game that you like to play in the current generation, fighting the fighting game that you like to play, it's just like, I don't think that you try to fight. It's just like there are so many good fighting games right now. It's just too many that.
Yeah.
There's so many that I want to play.
They're all varied. Like Tekken is doing its own thing extremely well. Soul Calibur is great. MK is still thriving. Like Marvel is a video game, I guess.
And if you really like a good Polish game, like Unif is there.
Unist, yeah, like, holy shit, Unist is so good. It's so good.
Yeah, it feels so good to just like play, and it is the fighting game where blocking is the best feeling when you block something and you gain that gauge. And they did everything like, and Unif have all those like execution, hard combo, and cool confirm and everything. And and as I said, that if you don't have, if could maybe you don't like all of this variety of good fighting games, and then you have like all of your old favorite fighting game to play too.
Like
I think
the people who stick around and complain, anyone who complains about a fighting game, it's just, you're so fucking lazy. Like, there are so many other good games, like, to just enjoy. Like, why the fuck are you even wasting your time, like, complaining when there's so many. I can't play them all, and that bums me out. Like, that I can't play, I don't have time to play Guilty Gear, bums me the fuck out. That shit is beautiful. And there's a fucking new Guilty Gear, which I still, I think legally, contractually, I have to eat a hat over because I said something on a podcast once. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But like, holy shit, there's gonna be a new Guilty Gear, and that shit looks incredible. Like, I honestly wish I had the time to go play more MVCI because that game's super fun to play. Sam Show's great. I fucking love Sam Show. Hamaru, here's the thing. I saw in the patch notes, all I saw about the patch was Hamaru walk forward and backward a little bit faster, and I was like, fuck, he's top tier. Like, that's all it fucking took. He just moved back and forward a little bit faster, and I was like, god damn, he's the best in the game. Can't take that away from him.
Yeah, I think that is for everyone. I think they just improve.
They kind of moved everyone a little bit faster, but even so, I'm like, fucking Hamaru. God damn. Yeah. Anyway, all right. And that's enough rambling about motherfuckers out there who don't want to enjoy fighting games in this era of 2019. Listen, if you're having a bad time with fighting games, then you fucked up somewhere along the line. I feel bad for you, honestly, because that's just a bad life decision that you need to get over. That's a hurdle in your life that you'll probably need to talk to someone about, the therapist maybe. Anyway, before you go, again, thank you for this time, this early morning edition of RSF Radio. Before you go, though, is there anything else that you want to send people to? Anything else that's on your mind? Anything that you didn't get to talk about in pitch tell, like where people can find you on the internet?
Yeah, so support your local, I think, and don't just go to local if maybe you're like the first,
support does not just mean go to it. There's more than
priority, that. But yeah, if you cannot go to local, watch your friend on the stream, clip that, share that, and if you don't know where to share that, just send it to me. I will just like gladly retweet that, or even like post a clip of that. Sometimes I even if you don't really like send any clips to me, I will just go into the tournament and find some good clip from that anyway. So just find some way to share it, and 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 you can follow me on twitter.com/HiFightTS and also youtube.com/HiFightTS. And if you don't know TS, if actually because I'm tired.
What does that mean? What does the TH stand for?
So the TS is just basically Thailand because I'm Thai. And the thing is, when I first thinking about the name HiFight, I want to register everything as HiFight, but I cannot take that on Twitter. So I have to add something to the HiFight.
Someone else had it already, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, and the number is not looking good at all. So I just put some TS in there.
Yeah. No, I think that's better than like HiFight 69.
For sure.
Or HiFight. Actually, HiFight 420 would have been way better, honestly. I don't know if you're familiar with the 420 reference in the States.
No, I don't know about what is it.
All right, so if you smoke weed.
Okay.
So the whole 420 is what the cops say. It's like the number for a crime would be like the possession of weed would be 420. Like it's like 211 in progress, right? Like, actually, do Japanese police have like crime codes that they call into the radio where like we got a 211 in progress? Someone jumped the gates at the subway station.
Maybe, but I don't know. I don't really know about that. So.
Okay, well, there's a lot of crime in the U.S. and we love knowing the codes. Anyway, when you're in possession of marijuana, the code is a 420. So what America decided altogether was like every April 20th that's going to be the day that smoking weed is celebrated and it's enjoyed and by so when you hear people say 420, it's because they're on drugs and they're criminals and they should go to jail because that's where criminals belong, is in jail for doing the marijuana.
I learned something new today.
I was once in a situation where a extremely white lady said out loud, it's just when the kids come over in my Airbnb and they smoke the weed. And then I saw the look on her husband's face and he went, no, dear, it's not. You don't say the weed. Like, the look was like, no, honey, it's not. No, you fucked up, babe. It's not that. Anyway, don't do drugs. Well, maybe do drugs, but don't tell them I told you to do the drugs. And certainly don't do drugs in Japan. That's like highly illegal, apparently.
Yeah, it's scary. Everyone here definitely are scared of doing anything illegally.
Yeah, you don't want to do the crime or even be alluded to do the crime because you will do the time. That's like... Anyway, let's stop talking about the judicial system via the country. Maybe I'll start looking up some Japanese crime codes and come at you next tournament with a
new court
with a 322, which is this guy stole sushi. He did steal sushi, and that's what that number stands for. Anyway, thanks for listening to RSF Radio. I'm your host, Super Joe Monday, on Twitter.com or at RedditSF. Or you can just hop on our Street Fighter and post whatever the fuck you want. I don't care. Self-promote all day. We accept all that stuff. Please do, and engage with the community, because it's a community. There's people who show up every day to talk about Street Fighter every day. It's a great place to share whatever you've got going on. So head over there, and again, catch us every Thursday on another edition of RSF Radio. Don't forget about our weekly tournaments. The Monday will come back next week. We were down last Monday because Capcom was like, oh yeah, I guess netcode is fucked up, which, by the way, they like very few times where they've recognized, hey, the netcode's fucked up, we're doing something about it. They had to fix everything last Monday, so they couldn't run so Noguremi couldn't run the tournament in my leave. I was in Toronto last weekend. But other than that, well, also, in addition to that, some more prescient news is that people who live in Russia have reported that, like, the netcode since the patch is like trash for them. Like, I don't know if they moved servers over there or moved them to a different location or what happened, but for the people who are living in Russia, it got significantly worse, which is like, who can say what happened there? But apparently that concern has been voiced to the powers that be. Whether something will happen to it about that, I don't know. We'll see what the response is tomorrow, because from what I saw, the Capcom, at least US, recognized it like earlier today, so who can say?
It's holiday here in Japan, so...
Oh, is it?
No, it's Saturday now, so...
Oh. Yeah, it's Saturday.
So...
Fuck. I'm like, why wouldn't she be working today? It's Saturday here. Oh, yeah. That's how... Yeah, it is Saturday. Fuck. My guy, time. I don't understand it. Anyway.
Yeah, so maybe they have to wait until like Monday.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there. Kind of on the edge there for all of the FGC in that region of the world, which is a big fucking region. Anyway, other than that, not a whole other lot of news going on, but we shall see. Again, catch us every Thursday for another edition of RSF Radio. But until next time, folks, take care. Bye.
Bye.